You're listening to The Objective Jerk, and I am said jerk. What's going on, everybody? Just want to let you know that I took some antihistamine and some other things to kind of clear out, made sure my stuff was clear. I actually went to the gym earlier with my son, and it was leg day. Never skip leg day. And some of the, what is it called? There's an exercise where you step on some platforms and you hold like a heavy dumbbell and you do squats. I always forget the name of it. What the heck is it called? Anyway, but with the weight kind of on your chest and push on your diaphragm a little bit, like it's by the time you get done doing it, oh, here I come here. You kind of out of breath and stuff. So I was breathing, and man, already I don't know what's with me, man. And I was coughing up a little phlegm from the chest cold I had. So that's fun. Man, look at here, dude. I mean, it feels a little dry. Gosh, I don't know what. I don't know. Anyway, but I do want to thank some of you. It seems like my podcast has grown a little bit. Nothing to, celebrate, but still be happy. So I appreciate that. So, day 2 of the aftermath of Charlie Kirk being assassinated, and people are getting fired like crazy because they are either one of two things. One, they are honestly, their soul is so corrupted and they're evil and they're celebrating this, or they're just trying to jump on bandwagons and look at me, I'm left and I've, this way and get views and clicks and stuff like that, Maybe deep down they're not happy about it, but they're just putting on that liberal psycho face, you know what I'm saying? But people are getting fired a lot. It's like last time I saw something, it was like a dozen people had lost their jobs because of it. And rightly so. I mean, come on. I can understand not agreeing with Charlie Kirk. I can even understand not liking him. But to celebrate him getting assassinated, that's just pure, you have no soul. You don't. Oh, he doesn't have soul for trans. Yeah, because trans is a retarded mythological pagan whatever, you know what I mean? That's what I'm going to get into later. I originally had this, I got some stuff pulled up and I'm going to read and kind of, talk about the history of basically trans ideology, And as I was pulling up stuff and I was reading stuff, where am I at? Oh no, before I get to, I'm already there, so I'll switch back. I got little bullet points here. I noticed that the health cross. So for those that don't know, there's basically 3 different kind of logos, or I guess schools of thought maybe, regarding like medicine and snakes on poles and whatever, right? So I changed my logo. I had like a little thing that I made, some kind of, it was like TOJ, the Objective Jerk stuff. But I wanted to kind of rebrand, I guess, maybe because I felt like I was getting, some people were like, Objective Jerk, what are you talking about? Like they didn't get it, that I'm an asshole. I'll admit it. But I, for the most part, am an objective thinking individual. And I try to look at stuff objectively, right? Case in point, the lady who got stabbed on the train, right? I didn't go into, they're all black, they didn't help, and it's because she's white and whatever. And, I was trying to look at it from their point of view, or put myself in that situation and kind of how, So that's what I try to do. I try to be objective, Am I always? No. I'm not, I don't know, but I try. So that's where the name, the objective jerk, comes from. But some people were kind of like confused by it. So I was like, well, maybe I need to change it. So I changed it to, because like I said, I use this microphone and this platform is like a form of therapy. I say it so many times, but I could have a first time listener. So whatever, I gave up on it. Sorry for those who've heard me say this like a million times. But I use my microphone as a therapist. I don't have somebody here really to talk to about these things. I don't want to put it on my children. I mean, some stuff I do, and my wife does not, and so it's most of my friends that I could talk to about this, they're on the other side of the planet, so it's hard to, so that's what this is. And so it was a form of therapy, and so I named it Mic Check Medicine, I think is what I called it. And I made the logo, which you'll see. I don't know if it's going to be, so I'm going to have a logo right here. I don't know if it's going to be that logo or a new one that I'm kind of looking at, because I hate to kind of change it again, but I liked, the logo instead of reverting back to, so even though I'm the objective jerk now, I still kept that logo because it's medicine, the microphone. I made the logo. I was kind of proud of it, but as I was looking up some of these, pagan gods and whatever that kind of represent the trans ideology, I came across some of these talking about the staffs. And so you have like three, like I said. Here, I think I still have it pulled up actually. So, nope, that's for something else. Let's see. Nope. What's going on here? Oh, this is something I'm going to read. Okay. And that is something else I'm going to read. Nope. I'm going to open up something now. Hold on. Bear with me. Here we go. There we go. Okay. So you have basically the oldest. I mean, I don't know. So you have the rod of Asclepius, which is just like a staff with a snake around it, right? And you see it on some healthcare logos and this and that, right? Medicine, regarding kind of medicine and stuff like that. And then you have the caduceus as a symbol of medicine. And so it's basically a staff with like two snakes and it's got wings on it. And that's the one that I incorporated into my Objective Jerk logo. But they both all start with, kind of pagan Greek stuff, mythology and all this kind of, and a lot of it kind of intertwines with Catholicism and stuff back in the day, sort of. But I was always under the impression it all started from when Moses put the staff, because you had when the Jews were in the desert for 40 years and they were getting bit by serpents and dying and everything. So he, was given a gift from God, and here, put the staff, and it had like a snake and intertwined on it. And they would touch it and it would heal them. And that's where I thought it kind of came from. And maybe there's some whatever, but what I'm talking about is I can't even pronounce it. Let's see. Where's the thing? It's Hebrew, the Nehushtan. It's not doing the Nehushtan or whatever. So that's basically kind of like a cross staff with a snake draped over it or whatever. It was like made out of bronze or whatever. So I'm like, man, I kind of got the wrong logo. I want a more accurate Christian influenced logo, right? So I was on, like I said, I made the other logo. By the way, this is probably going to be a long episode, because I don't know if I said that already. I'm talking about this, and I still got to talk. Maybe not. I always say that, and then I get through it in about a half hour. But I'm thinking this will be longer. But anyway, so I've got a little experience doing some graphic design and this and that. I'm not that good. I'm not, like I said, a little experience. So I did, my previous logos and everything on Illustrator actually, and but it's so expensive and I never use it. But times like now, like once a year maybe. So I have a Canvas account or Canva. What's it called? Where's it at? Where's it at? Where's it at? Yeah, Canva. And you can make little logos, and it's much cheaper. So that's what I've been using lately. So I was like, man, I need to maybe think about a different logo. So I got on Canva, and it has a little AI thing because I really didn't know where to start. And I did with the AI, I did like a Christian Catholic logo with the letters OTG for the objective, or TOJ for the objective jerk. I could have done maybe OJ, but then I don't know. I see OJ, objective jerk, but then I think of OJ Simpson. But so it did bring up a nice little logo that I saved, and I'm probably going to use because I tried to create one with the snake, the one that Moses put down, but it's not really doing it right, and it's kind of reverting it to the Caduceus version, and it's not really working. I don't know why, but I like the other one. It's not the medicine part. It doesn't show like the therapy of the microphone, but that's okay. It's Christian. You can tell it's a Christian influence. So, and I kind of always, well, not kind of, but lately I've been reserved with my, I talk about it on the podcast. I don't really push it too much on social media and with my friends or whatever. I'm not like, hey, look at me, but I'm kind of getting to that point, especially with the way the world is, to start doing it. To not, it's not that I was ashamed, but I don't know. I didn't want to put some stuff up and people are like, whoa, what happened? Are you, have you always been Catholic or whatever? And then get people to ask me questions. And I don't know all the answers yet because I'm still kind of learning myself. So I felt kind of, I didn't want to advertise that I'm a Catholic, a devout Catholic without knowing everything yet. I'm still reading, the Bible for one thing. I'm in Mark finally. And then I got the Council of Trent, the Catechism, and just trying to learn as much as I can about it, and trying to live my life as a good Catholic. So, I was kind of like, I wanted to kind of maybe once I could, give out the information or share some knowledge. But I had a conversation with my friend, which I spoke about, trying to talk to him about Catholicism. He's Protestant, and I knew a lot of stuff, and I was he's like, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And I was kind of putting some stuff down, and I was just like, wow, maybe I kind of know more than I thought, not giving myself enough credit. So I think I'm done trying to not hide it, but just not, I'm not going to, go crazy with it, but the logo is it's going to be obvious. And, maybe some people won't listen anymore, but I don't think anybody that listens to me on a regular basis, I'm not going to lose anybody like that. I'm objective, but I'm not a center. What I talk about is not all over the place. I have a certain view that I discuss, but I try to do it objectively. So I don't think it's going to interfere with that. Let me know if it does. So there's that. So I'll work on that after I'm done doing the podcast. So yeah, you got people just going nuts about Charlie Kirk. I mean, as far as like the left, just celebrating. It's just, you can, I get it, but I don't know, to celebrate somebody being assassinated is just, and there are some people that are like walking it back and doing whatever, but for some it's too late. You can't celebrate violence, political violence, because somebody doesn't agree with you. And all the stuff that people, oh my gosh, Charlie Kirk, all they have seen is like little clipped stuff that people use. Oh, look at how racist he is. And they take stuff out of context and then they share that on social media, and that's their viewpoint. Instead of actually watching the whole thing and seeing the things he said and talked about. The guy was like a saint. Yeah, he didn't agree with trans. He, because there's only two genders. It's the truth. Okay, truth hurts for some people. He what was the other thing? Like he's talking about like the gun violence. Yeah, it's like some people being shot is like the sacrifice to have the Second Amendment. Again, I can understand why people don't like that, but he's right. The Second Amendment is important. Without the Second Amendment, I mean, America is shit right now. It's getting better. Like I said, it's never gonna be what it should be. But without the Second Amendment, America would not be at all right now. You know what I mean? It would have been taken over by government and all these policies, and if you don't like it, get out of here. What are you going to do? Because people would not be able to do. That's what won the Revolutionary War, man, was the militias. And if they didn't have their guns, there'd be no militias, So it's the same. That's why the founders, even though some of them were douchebags like Jefferson, but they did a lot of things right. They did some things wrong with the Constitution, but most of it's right, I think. So, but with that said, so I posted a couple things. My liberal friend, I think he's the only liberal friend I have on Facebook who's an actual, a person I know who's a friend on my Facebook, my personal one. And he's always commenting on, any political stuff, but I've pulled back the political posts and everything on my personal account. I still do some stuff on my Objective Jerk, but I'm really kind of bad about it. I post my new podcast and things like that, but I don't really get posting things too much. Like when I get on Facebook and I kind of look and see what's going on, I'm on my personal one, but I need to do my Objective Jerk one more to get more interaction stuff. Anyway, so he was always this guy, my liberal friend. I love the guy, and he's not celebrating, at least not publicly, he's not celebrating Kirk, but he doesn't like how people are praising, like I shared a photo of Charlie Kirk with JFK and MLK together. And he was like, oh my God, like he's upset about it. Or, it's hard to tell because it's comments, and it's like.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Thanks again for listening to The Objective Jerk. I greatly appreciate it. If you could like, subscribe, comment on wherever you're finding this. And you can also email me at theobjectivejerk@gmail.com. So hope you're enjoying it, and please continue on with the episode. Dude, it's not. Is Charlie Kirk at the same level as MLK and JFK? Probably, to be honest with you. Because the things that we know so much about MLK and JFK, as people, as personal, whatever, they were kind of shitty. JFK was kind of a douche. But, he was trying to fight the deep state and CIA, and he was like, hey, this is what we need to do, whatever, and he was getting backlash from that, and that's what killed him. MLK, he was fighting for human rights, civil rights for black folks, going on marches, doing his speeches. Charlie Kirk, going to campuses, doing debates, doing his speeches. Yeah, they weren't exactly the same, but they honestly weren't that different either. But then MLK was, he slept around on his wife all the time. Does that make him a bad person? No, it makes him a shitty husband. And, that's sin. But he's a preacher, but Protestant. Anyway, I think history will show that Charlie Kirk is at the level of those individuals. But the point is, they were shot for what they were fighting for and their views and their, you know what I mean? It's not like, I mean, even if Charlie Kirk was like, oh, we need to get rid of all the blacks in the country and all the gay people need to go to jail or something like that. Just, like I would get why people would celebrate that more. But even then, it's still, dude, you just don't celebrate somebody. I mean, don't agree with them, don't like them. That's fine. And my friend is like that. But so we had a little back and forth on the comments, and he was saying some stuff, and that's what we talked about. And basically what I just said is kind of what the back and forth was. But it's just kind of, he didn't like Charlie Kirk, and that's fine. He's just not. I hope he's not. I don't think he. I haven't seen the guy and even spoken to him in person in over 10 years. But I cherish the memories we had. We worked together, had some good memories. He's a good person. We just have different. Back then I wasn't political at all. He probably was a little bit, if I'm trying to remember. But I hope we can remain friends on Facebook at least. I don't want things like this to kind of. There's a couple times where I was kind of annoyed and pissed off with something he said, and I responded, and it was like, it was kind of angry at first, and then I'm like, no, because I don't want him to be like, you know what, I don't want to be friends anymore. We need to be friends because you got to have that. That's what Charlie Kirk was all about, having that dialogue with opposing views. And he was shot because they couldn't beat him at those debates because he would prove them wrong. He would show them up. And some crazy liberal didn't like that and took him out. Or maybe there's more to it. I talked about it in my last podcast, the MK Ultra. Charlie Kirk was very, very popular. He was grabbing the attention of a lot of people. He was bringing a lot of people over to the Christian side, over to the conservative side, I mean, you look at the polls. I'm not saying this was all him, but the polls right now, and then Democrats are just sinking. Like, they're a sinking ship. You got the media, the liberal media, just the numbers are down. They're going down. So maybe they felt like, hey, we got to get rid of somebody. Charlie Kirk was pretty popular, But then it's like, but they had to know. I'm looking at what happened to Trump and how that just, that almost saved his run. If he did not get shot at, he might not have won. Maybe, it's possible. I think he still would have won because Harris she's horrible. But so I kind of tend to lean more towards just a psycho liberal, because if people, the puppeteers pulling the strings, taking out Charlie Kirk, I don't see how they could think that would be beneficial for the left. It's just hurting them more, I mean, who knows? Maybe Charlie Kirk had this black book on a bunch of people, and he was taken out by the right. Because they didn't want stuff to come out, and they knew that would help, the right. I don't think so, but anything's possible, I guess. I'm sure there's probably some left-wing individual like myself saying stuff like that. And then, like I said on the last podcast, that maybe it was to divert the attention to the stabbing, which it has a little bit, but people still, it's those two things, though. But see, that's the thing. It's not. It's people are noticing. People are converting to Catholicism like crazy right now. People are moving over to the Christian, to Jesus, like crazy. I would say, if you're listening to this and you're looking to do it or whatever, look at Catholicism. if you want two individuals, two YouTube channels that I enjoy and are very, very helpful, I can hit me up and I'll tell you who those are. I mean, I can say it now, I guess. One's I Miss Christendom, and the other is Dr. Taylor Marshall. I've said them before, so. But yeah, so I can't see how it just, I think it was just, you know, a left-wing terrorist, you know, and they're there, man. Look at what's going on. Like Tesla, and they're out there. It's insane. But it's demonic, you know. They have, it's not like there's a demon inside their body and he's going around doing the stuff. It's the devil cannot make miracles happen and cannot create something from nothing. Only God can. But the devil can influence, little influences, right? So what I wanted to talk about is the trans, you know, a lot of people would say like, oh, you know, trans is, you know, it's just people, it's a condition, which it is. But yes, trans ideology has been around for a long time. There's demons. So you look on Wikipedia. Gosh, come on. I can hear myself breathing into the microphone. You look at Wikipedia, and I always talk about how it's a good starting point, but it is edited by everyday people. So you can only so much, right? But I notice as I'm looking this stuff up, a lot of it's like Greek mythology and this and that, and it was like demonized by the church and this and that. Oh, you know, but if you read the Bible and you pay attention to the Bible and you look at kind of everything, it all kind of starts to make sense, man. And again, if you're looking to be a Christian, my friend who's a Protestant, he has read the New Testament I don't know how many times. He's never read the Old Testament. So when I decided that when I found Jesus, I've talked about before, and I started reading the Bible, I wanted to start from the beginning. I wanted to get all the information. And so I did. It's taken me a while, but, you know, reading the Old Testament, you could just see stuff that was happening thousands of years ago happening now. And it's like, whoa. It just kind of like you'll read something, you're like, dude, that's going on right now. You read some stuff, oh my gosh. And these were written, you know, how old is the Bible? 1,500 years? No, 800,000? Because, I think like 800 years, if I'm not mistaken. The actual Bible. You know, before people just had like scripts and scrolls and stuff and parts of it and everything. All right, but anyway, there are other channels that are way more knowledgeable and better about the Bible than me, so don't. Anyway, but I did want to kind of talk about this. So androgyny, right? They always talk about androgynous people where it's like male or female, right? So androgyny is the possession, that's kind of funny, of both masculine and feminine characteristics, right? Androgyny may be expressed with regard to biological sex or gender expression. When androgyny refers to mixed biological sex characters in humans, it often refers to the condition in which characteristics of both sexes are expressed in a single individual. These are known as intersex people. And then it's kind of going on about assigning birth or whatever. All right, so the term derives from ancient Greek through Latin androgynous. Androgyny is attested from the earliest history and across world cultures. In ancient Sumer is the earliest known civilization located in the historical region of southern Mesopotamia, emerging during the Paleolithic, I think that's a typo, and early Bronze Ages between the 6th and 5th millennium BC. Androgynous men were heavily involved in the cult of Inanna. Inanna is the ancient Mesopotamian goddess of war, love, and fertility. She is also associated with political power, divine law, sensuality, procreation, and beauty. Originally worshipped in summer, she was known summer. Is that summer like June? Anyway, she was known by Akkadians, Babylonians, and Assyrians, and all this stuff. So these are all the idols that people were worshiping when God destroyed, like, Sodom and Gomorrah, the floods, all these things. When you worship other idols, God would punish you, right? He wiped everybody out, started clean with the floods. And then you had Sodom and Gomorrah and some other, which was a city filled with, you know, trans and everybody just screwing everybody, and it didn't matter. No, basically kind of what's happening to America in a sense in some of the major blue cities, Look at it, man. Just just look at it. Anyway, okay, a set of priests known as Gala. Gala were priests of the Sumerian goddess of Honor. They made up a significant number of personnel in both temples and palaces. Worked in Inanna's. I know I'm mispronouncing these. So, in Inanna's, I think, temples where they performed elegies and laminations. Gala took female name, spoke the dialect, the Sumerian, which was traditionally reserved for women, and appeared to have engaged in sexual acts with men. In later Mesopotamian cultures, East Semite equivalent who dressed in female clothing performed war dances, blah blah blah. Ancient Greek myth. I'm really skimming through, so I'm not going to read the whole thing. All right, so the ancient Greek myth of Hermaphrodite. I can never say. Anyway, two whatever things, two divinities who fused into a single immortal provide a frame of reference used in Western culture for centuries. Androgyny and homosexuality are also seen in Plato's Symposium, in a myth where, according to Aristophanes, humanity started as three sexes: male, male, people that descended from the sun; female, female, people who descended from the earth; male, female, people who came from the moon. So this is all pagan worship, and these are demons. These are demons to influence you, to pull you away from God and the Christian, all this stuff, man. And it's just kind of crazy. So when people are like, oh, people have been gay and trans for, it's like, yeah, so is the devil's been around the whole time. The demons, all this stuff, it's all, it's like it's what why did why did the Greek, what am I trying to say? Greek civilization, ancient Greece, why did it fail? It was huge, whatever, but then it crumbled and it died because they were all caught up in all this crap, and Christianity came. So I don't know. It's just so the androgyny talks about Inanna, right? I think I pulled up a thing on Inanna. I'm reading some. I got a couple things here. Nope, that's not it. Did I? I guess I didn't. I thought I. So there's another one, the Astaroth, the Great Duke of Hell, but I don't know. I'm not reading that one. I'll read this one. So ancient Mesopotamian transgender and non-binary identities. The most highly venerated deity in ancient Mesopotamia was Inanna, which is what I talked about, who was also known as Ishtar. After the two were merged, she was known as the Queen of Heaven and was the goddess of sex, war, and justice. She also was believed to have the ability to change a person's gender. This power event of Inanna's, the ability to change a man into a woman and vice versa, is well accounted for in multiple poetry fragments and is indicative of the existence of people living outside their gender. So yes, it's been going on for a very long time. But it's things like this that collapsed societies and massive metropolitan groups. This is what it is, and it's crazy again. The thing is, we stay down this route, and there's nothing left but Armageddon and what is it? The end of days. I can't think of the word. Because God had said, so he did the flood, and he did, there was Sodom and Gomorrah and some other things. But then when the new covenant, which was Jesus, God was not going to flush out the system or anything anymore. It was Jesus was going to return. People who obeyed, did not idol worship, only worshiped God, and lived the Christian Catholic way. I mean, some argue that other Christians will. They will, man, I can never remember any of these words, but they go up to heaven, the rapture, right? So that's what's coming, There is no more wiping out stuff and whatever. So from what I can tell, from what I've read and watched and everything, we can push it back. We can change and not celebrate trans, gay. We don't need to attack them. We don't need to go after them, but to prop them up and worship them and all this stuff and allow this stuff to happen creates evil in the world. These are demons working 24/7. Look at all the violence going on right now. All because he was saying there's two genders. There are only two genders. So what? So we are getting there. You used to see people with the signs, the end is near, the end is near. Man, we are close. Now, for Christians, I mean, some are working on it. If the rapture was to happen right now, would I go to heaven? I don't know. To be honest with you, I'm not ready yet. I want to. So we're, the Novus Ordo, the church where I work at, that I attend, they don't have confession at a regular basis. Like, you have to find there's special times, and that's kind of the problem with the Novus Ordo. So my thing is this is, I mean, and some people are like, oh my gosh, that's nothing. Okay, it's nothing, but still, I don't I don't want to make it because of this, right? So I still have issues with seeing like an attractive woman and being like, whoa, that girl, check her out, this and that, right? That's all it is. To most people, that's not a big deal. It's like appreciating a nice car. But still, it's not right. It isn't. I'm getting much better. If I see something that's like a girl wearing something that's very revealing and whatever, I'll just, whoop, okay, no, let's go another way. Let's do whatever. I try to avoid it and try not even to. And I used to make fun of people that did that. But here I am. And the other thing is saying the Lord's name in vain. I used to do it on a regular basis. GD. Oh, GD this. Whatever, And again, I am much better at not doing it. And I don't. And then when I do say it now, it's more just out of habit. But I'm still saying it. Yeah, maybe they'd be like, well, you don't mean it, so it's not the same. Okay, maybe. Yeah. But I still would like to go to my priest, confess that I have, and confess my sins, because that's part of what Jesus created. Taking communion, the Eucharist, live by, and confess your sins. So, right now, if the rapture was to happen, I would be a little worried for myself. And I'd be a little worried for my family because I haven't, I think my kids are good. I don't know. But I'm still trying to work on being, the example for my kids and everything. So when it comes, people who are ready, they're going to be, it's a good thing for Christians. So if you're not a Christian, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. It's a crazy time. It's much like the 60s, assassinations and everything. It's crazy. But, yes, trans and gay have been a thing forever. But now it's in the limelight. Now it's just like, come here. Now they're putting, gay pride flags on mega TV things at sporting events. And then when Biden was in, they had the White House. And it's like, dude, okay. But, you're going to, I don't know, it's crazy. So, again, I'm not saying to attack, your gay and trans people that you are acquaintances with or whatever. But you can always try and talk to them and try and, I've said it before. I used to think that, yeah, it was just gay people. It was, people were born gay. I don't believe that now. I don't. I think they find excitement from it, and then it just grows from there. And then you have these demons that feed off it and perpetuate it. Androgyny, Enchantress, Astaroth, and all these demons that just, oh yeah, there you go. So then you feel good and it feels right. Oh, I'm gay. I'm attracted to men, not women. It's because you're being influenced by demons, It's sad because I gotta come up with a plan for. I have my nephew who is gay. I love the kid. I've talked about him before, but he's kind of going down that path a little bit. He wasn't celebrating Charlie Kirk, but we're not friends on Facebook anymore. But he's kind of involved with, he's being influenced by all that crap, and he kind of lives alone. I don't know. Sometimes I wish he would come here, but so I could try and, I don't know. But then again, I'm working on myself. How much of an influence can I be when I'm still, all of us are sinners, but I don't know. It's just crazy. Anyway, that's it. I've been talking. This is so I was right. This is the longest podcast. So, let me know your opinions, what you think. Think I'm wrong? Think I'm right? Think I'm stupid? Whatever. But for those of you that are Christian, specifically Catholic, pray the rosary, say a prayer for Charlie Kirk's soul and for his family. Thanks for listening. I appreciate your time, and I'll see you next time. God bless. You just put yourself through another episode of The Objective Jerk. Thanks again for hanging out with me. Please email me at theobjectivejerk@gmail.com. Like, subscribe, comment, wherever you find this, follow. It all helps. But thanks again, and I'll see you next time.